The story begins on a night of heavy rain, under a nearly vanished moon. It was a horrible, frightening place. The only light, dim and yellow, came from a solitary lamp. There, beneath the light, stood Liba. The rain was falling on her hair white and her dress torn. Her face was badly bruised. She stood there unresponsive, seemingly hypnotized by misery, her mouth dry. She tried to drink the rainwater dripping onto her face. She was so sad that her eyes were red. She took a gold coin from her pocket. She looked at it and cried deeply, feeling completely alone. The poor girl, clutching the gold coin as if it were the only thing she had left. She clutched the coin and cried, screaming to the sky, "God, why doesn't the world help me after all I've suffered?" She screamed that she only wanted to be happy. That was why she ran away. "What a mistake," she complained. "Nothing changes. I always come back to the same place." She even asked if she'd done anything wrong in another life. "No, dear. The wrong is the one who makes you suffer." Exhausted, she fell backward into the water and mud and passed out. Shortly afterward, figures in black hoods appeared. Liba shivered with cold and fear. A shadow approached. She opened her eyes in time to hear the deep voice, like a sentence. "We found and captured the slave who escaped." Liba fainted again and could only say softly, "Why is my life so sad?" The scene shifts to a very wealthy home, full of luxury, but the place was heavy and a broken vase could be seen on the floor, a clear sign of the violence that resided there. Liba stood there, trembling, dressed as a maid. She was in the home of a very cruel man, whom we might call a mad nobleman. This monster's hand came swiftly and slapped Liba hard across the face. He screamed, calling her stupid and demanding that she answer. He was mad, not she. Liba, holding her head, responded immediately, "I'm sorry, my lord. 1,000 pardons." The nobleman shouted, asking why she tried to defend herself. He told her she should take a beating and keep quiet. How absurd! Just as he was about to hit her again, Maria appeared. Maria, a blue-haired girl, grabbed the nobleman's hand. A mistake, sure, but a beautiful one. She begged him to forgive Liba, who was a newbie. He promised to teach her properly. The nobleman became very, very angry, with a look of hatred on his face. He yelled at Maria, "How dare you, you meddler, touch me? Do you know what you just did?" The cruel nobleman, to make the scene even more macabre, ordered Liba to take his golf club. Crying and panicked, Liba obeyed, handing the weapon to the tyrant. He called her little bunny and said, with a smile of someone who delights in doing evil, that he hoped she understood why dear Maria is being punished. It was a disgusting smile, with a rage that seemed to explode. He slapped Maria across the face with all his strength. She fell to the ground, face down, and fainted. The nobleman struck a strange and disgusting pose, displaying the smile of a truly madman on his face. Liba wept loudly, apologizing for a mistake that was not hers. The tyrant straightened his tie and spoke to them both, as if teaching a lesson. "Look, you're just something I bought. I can do whatever I want. Who gave you the right to play the heroine? Never do that again." The nobleman leaned close to Maria's ear and said something even worse. He said that Maria was an elf woman who, deep down, doesn't like humans. He continued, throwing in her face that the elven race had treated humans badly for a long time. And he lied, saying that we humans killed the chief of the elves, not some other race. Maria, humiliated and broken, could only murmur, "I'm sorry." The tyrant was angry simply because she existed. He ordered her to remember why she was in the house, to be punished. The tyrant, at that moment, recalled all his cruelty, wanting Maria and Liba to remember for the rest of their lives. And he declared, with that irritating certainty, "As long as these collars are around your necks, you will never again harm me or my kind. I am your master, and you are my slave." As if anyone needed reminding, Liba cried deeply, deeply, while Maria comforted her. The rain outside continued to fall heavily, as if the sky were crying too. The scene shifts to a bedroom later. We see Liba still crying. Maria, the elf woman, played the role of mother, comforting her and began to speak tenderly. Look, you're a big girl, Libas. Don't cry. Please don't cry. Because of me, you got hurt. I promise I'll protect you, okay? As long as I'm here to protect you, I'll be happy with that. Liba thanked her. Maria took the girl's shoulders with a caress that was rare in that place and whispered the plan. Look, Libas, listen to me carefully. In 3 hours, I'm going to burn this mansion down until there's nothing left. Liba went into a state of total paralysis, unresponsive. The girl asked, shocked, what do you mean? She's going to burn down the mansion? What? Maria's madness seemed immense. But Maria quickly resumed her explanation, trying to be quick. Just listen to me. I'll buy you time. Then you go out and run away. With a faint smile on her face, Maria continued instructing. Once you leave the mansion, run. Run, Libas, to the top of the mountain. There will be something waiting for you. Maria then reinforced her request. I don't know what that something is, to be honest, but what I do know is that it will save you from this place. Ask that something to protect you. Don't forget, okay, Libas? Ask that something or someone to protect you. Liba, already desperate, asked in a choked voice, but what about you, Maria? Don't worry about me, Maria assured, lying with enviable courage. I'll be right behind you, right after I burn this place down. The narrator, of course, saw through the lie. She knew she couldn't. And Maria concluded, if I can't get there, please don't wait for me. Liba cried a lot, really, worried about what might happen to the only person who cared about her. Moments later, the horrific incident occurred. Maria lay on the ground, collapsed, blood streaming from her face. Liba appeared before her and simply couldn't believe what she was seeing. She entered a state of paralysis in time, and the truth was brutal. The tyrant, the noble psychopath, had eliminated Maria. The nobleman spoke with a sick smile on his face, as if he were telling a joke. The nobleman, take a look at this, Libas. That maid, that inferior being, that bitch just tried to set our house on fire in the middle of the night. Can you believe it? I wonder how she got that idea. Isn't it great that I was able to catch her in time, before she hurt us both? Liba began to cry, unable to accept that her best friend, the only one who protected her, was dead. The nobleman lamented cynically. But it's a shame we lost such a precious servant. The psychopathic tyrant continued with his morbid smile. He then stated arrogantly, well, we can always find a replacement, right? But I just realized something. Bunny, why are you wearing a raincoat? He reached out with his thick hands to Liba. The girl froze, unsure what to do. That was the final push. When he got close, Liba began to flee, running away from that tyrant, unsure of where to go. The nobleman, furious, began to shout, catch her, capture her now. Liba continued to run, desperate, while the tyrant repeated the order, get her. He then closed his eyes with a psychopathic smile on his face. The nobleman then began shouting for all his servants to hear, catch her, capture her now. Liba ran desperately away from this tyrant, never wanted to see that face again. The servants were right behind her. She left the mansion and ran toward the top of the mountain. The girl clung to Maria's words, remembering that there would be someone there waiting for her, and that she should ask that someone protect her. Poor girl, placing all her hope in this strange, desperate promise. A few minutes passed. Liba ran until she hit a door and, in a panic, begged for help. Look, I'm being chased. Please let me hide, or I'll die. If I'm caught, I'll die. What a heartbreaking scene. But the truth was an optical illusion. She was actually on the edge of a cliff, and there was a door floating there. The girl begged again. Please, I beg you, if God exists in this world, open the door, please, really. Desperation made her ask a door for a miracle. At that moment, something very strange happened. Liba fell to the ground, but as she fell, right at the edge of the cliff, the door opened, and a man came out, someone in a coat and short clothes, who saw the girl lying on the ground. What an unusual entrance. He calmly asked, Who are you, young lady? And immediately closed the door again. The scene cut. Liba was gone. Sure enough, The man pulled her into the door. He sat back down on the edge of the cliff as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, the henchman and the tyrant, the psychopathic nobleman, arrived furious behind Liba. They stopped, staring at the strange sight of a man sitting on a floating door. What was that? And to make matters worse, he was calmly smoking a cigarette. The tyrant, with a foreboding feeling, thought aloud, "Was there a person living at the top of this cliff? I didn't know. I don't remember seeing anything like it before." The guy, who looked like a cool goth, was standing there, smoking a cigar, and didn't even bother to look at the tyrant. The nobleman, looking suspicious, greeted him. "Good evening. I apologize for disturbing you so late, but could you give us a moment of your attention?" The nobleman explained impatiently, "I'm looking for a girl. She's a maid who ran away from my estate." The Gothic man, with a slow voice, simply asked, "Maid?" The tyrant confirmed, "Yes, sir. Have you seen a young woman around here recently? She was wearing a raincoat, white hair, red eyes." He gave an accurate description of Liba. He added the detail. "She was also wearing a red ring on her finger. Have you seen anyone who fits that description?" The boy began to think, but the Gothic man paid the tyrant no mind. The nobleman, enraged by the insult, exploded, "Hey, you bastard! Are you kidding me? Well, now I know where my slave is." And then he simply went with his henchmen, aggressively, to disturb the Gothic man. Another display of childish fury. "Don't meddle in my affairs. Do you value your life by any chance? Then hand her over to me." But the mysterious man remained calm. Unconcerned with the nobleman, he declared, "Violence is not the answer." It was clear he was a calm man and didn't like fighting. The tyrant mockingly retorted, "Well, are you done now? Then get out of my way." He ordered the unknown man to leave. The nobleman then boasted, "Let me handle this myself." He simply walked in the door as if there were no tomorrow, calling the man a coward. The henchman followed him in. The unknown man calmly repeated his warning. Violence is not the answer. When the tyrant reached the other side of the door, something simply unbelievable was revealed to us. "But what is this place?" the tyrant exclaimed, looking around. "The sky?" He looked, and there were only clouds. How could such a place exist behind a door? What is this? This is simply surreal. The tyrant, for the first time, was speechless. When the nobleman looked back, the unknown man entered and closed the door from the inside. The tyrant demanded angrily, "What do you intend to do?" Where are we now? The unknown man's expression changed completely. He remembered the nobleman with a dark smile, out there on the edge of the cliff. He had said that violence was not the answer. But here, on his territory, he warned, the real violence would begin now. After all, they were the ones who invaded. The tyrant scoffed, "I thought you said it wasn't the answer until now." "It wasn't the answer out there," the unknown man said coldly. A tension that could be cut through the air filled the room. In a moment that seemed surreal, as the nobleman mocked him, the unknown man, in the blink of an eye, defeated all the henchmen in a millisecond. The tyrant trembled in confusion. When he looked to the side, the unknown man was already there, quick as lightning. He raised his hand to slap him across the face, just as the nobleman had done to Liba. The tyrant went berserk with rage, shouting, "You touched me? You worm! Do you know who I am?" The unknown man didn't care, nor did he care. He slapped him again, even harder, declaring, "I have no idea who you are. Here you are on my territory, you idiot." The tyrant lunged at the unknown man. The funniest thing of all was that the mysterious man parried the nobleman's weak punch with a book. Yes, a book. The book had the ironic title, "Knowledge is Power." In a fitting moment, the young man grabbed the book and slammed it into the tyrant's head, causing him to stagger back. The nobleman was slapped several times in the face, and the unknown man seemed to be taking satisfaction in his revenge. The tyrant begged, "Please stop. Let me go. I beg your forgiveness." As he raised his hands to protect his face, the unknown man rebuked with cutting irony, "Are you defending yourself? Who gave you that right?" He used the same words a nobleman had used with Liba, Take your hand away right now. And with that, he lunged at the tyrant again, delivering the hardest slap yet. The scene cut to the unknown man picking up the three men, as if they were garbage bags, and throwing them out the door, a gesture to show how insignificant they were. He calmly returned to smoking his cigar, sitting in the doorway, smoke billowing from the rain. He stood up, tossed the cigar away, went inside, and closed the door. We were shown the tyrant and his henchmen defeated. Fallen on the cliff, a little further on, the unknown man walked through the door. Inside, there were only white colors and clouds, the silence and tranquility of which were as great as could be. When we looked to the left, we saw something we hadn't expected, something completely different. We saw Liba lying on a mattress, clutching the pillows, in the unknown man's bed. She was safe, finally. The unknown man, yes, he took care of her. Minutes later, Liba woke up, gasping and cold, as if she were still living the nightmare. Suddenly, she stood up and looked at her hands in disbelief. The girl asked in shock, "My scars, are they gone? Disappeared? But how did this happen? How much time has passed? Where am I?" At that moment, she stopped and looked up. She saw clouds, so many clouds. And she asked herself again, "Where am I? Am I in heaven?" Poor soul, searching for peace. With that, the unknown man appeared before her and announced, "You're finally awake, young lady." He looked at her with a mocking look. Liba, startled and filled with fear, exploded and punched him in the face. It obviously hurt, for he groaned, "Oh, damn, that hurt." Liba asked again, "Who are you?" And he calmly stated, "I'm the guy who just saved your life, my dear, my little one." In a moment of bizarre humor, he commented, "Man, kids these days have violent tendencies. This generation is going to be completely ruined." He continued, reminding her that nobleman was also quite aggressive. He ordered, "Hey, brat, follow me." He didn't even mind the punch. It even seemed like he liked Liba. "I'll take you outside, okay?" He asked her to follow him, and she was left completely confused. He opened a door in the middle of nowhere that led back out of the cliff. And look how funny it was. The psychopathic nobleman and his henchmen were still there, passed out. Liba and the unknown man looked at them indifferently. The girl couldn't believe it, experiencing an unbelievable surprise that startled her. She asked, "How? How did you do this to them?" She blushed and looked resentful, and he lied straight-faced, "Oh, a bear attacked them, so I closed the door." Liba, incredulous, asked again, "A bear? Come on, tell the truth, come on." "So the master was attacked by a bear?" the girl asked. "Impossible, he's stronger than 10 bears." He then corrected his lie, mocking, there were 11 bears, which made the scene even funnier. With that, the unknown man, out of nowhere, pulled out an umbrella and handed it to Liba. He said, "Here, young lady, so you don't catch a cold." Liba jumped from the door onto the cliff and simply stepped over the fallen psychopathic nobleman, walking away with the umbrella. She was trembling and asked decisively, "Sir, I would like to ask you something." At that moment, she turned her back to him and handed him the object she held in her hand. That small treasure. "This isn't much, but it's what I have. It's practically nothing, but it's the earnings I've accumulated throughout my life as a servant." It was a gold coin. She made her desperate proposal. "I offer you this. Would you please kill my master?" The unknown man asked in surprise, "What? Kill him?" Liba stated, "Yes. As long as I have this collar around my neck, I could do nothing against my master. He has mistreated me countless times, knowing I cannot fight back. If I cannot kill him now, I will be trapped in this life completely. Please, it is my only hope. I beg you." At this moment, she knelt in the dust of the earth in utter despair, begging him to eliminate her master. But the unknown man refused. "Of course not, girl. Of course I won't do that. Are you crazy?" "No, thank you." The unknown man asked, testing her, "Would you do that to someone you just met if another person you also just met asked you to? All that for a single coin?" The girl then screamed, insisted, and yelled, saying, If the problem is money, I will pay you back. But please do this. I've worked for years. If it's necessary, then please. Liba begged, money? At that moment, something funny happened. The unknown man pulled out bags and bags of money. A crown and a necklace made of money. He said, that's not really my problem. Liba was stunned. She exclaimed in amazement, wow, where'd you get so much money? She continued, pleading, I have nothing, no place to go back to. I have no family, no one I know. I beg you on my knees, please kill him. The unknown man then realized something. Wait a second, that ring. Where did you get that ring? And he stated with certainty, that ring is mine. Liba then realized she had an ace up her sleeve. I'm going to try to use this against him, she thought. Absolutely. Fixed for Adele, without any other changes. So your story remains perfect. Liba thought, I'll only tell you whose ring it is, the girl assured the unknown man. If you kill my master, then I'll tell you. It seemed, indeed, to be very important to him. And then the unknown man played a manipulative game. How clever! And asked, what if I don't kill him? Liba calmly reinforced the ultimatum. You'll never see that ring again. What negotiator, huh? Exclaimed the unknown man, showing considerable interest in the offer. Very well. Brat, do you want to kill this guy? I will. Liba waited anxiously, but he continued, stating the condition, but I have a price. Come in. At that moment, he asked the girl to come back to his door. Liba became suspicious, wondering, what will he do to me? With that, she stepped back into the cloudscape with her umbrella and wet clothes. She stared at him in bewilderment as he closed the door. What are you doing now? Liba asked Adele, and with that, he raised his voice and with brutal force, ripped the door from the floor and asked mockingly, what do you think of this? I'm getting rid of the exit. He grabbed the door and threw it upward with absurd speed, sending it flying for miles. Liba confronted him, full of rage. You lied to me, you damned liar. That guy must be coming. The noble psychopath, of course. At that moment, Adele didn't pay much attention to the girl's scolding. He simply walked toward a wood-burning stove in front of him. We saw someone sleeping there, dressed in black and carrying a horn. Adele went and woke the sleeping creature. That mysterious being then spoke in a hoarse voice. So, Adele, how are you today? How are you? And Adele, which is the name of the unknown man, replied, what were you doing in there? I surprised you. The unknown being stated, not at all. Sorry to ask this of you out of the blue. But could you do me a favor? Do the opposite. Yes, Adele was asking a favor of that dark individual. The being agreed, no problem. At that moment, something surreal happened. The black-robed individual snapped his finger, and simply a dimensional portal appeared in front of him, showing the street exit. All your wishes and desires, anything you desire, please tell me. I will be the broker of this contract. The unknown dark man spoke, and I will make it all come true. What is this? Liba asked, dumbfounded, staring at the portal. Adele replied, that's my price. The correction is important. Changing blind to servant makes the collar rule much clearer and more closely linked to Liba's condition of slavery. That's my price, Adele said. Let's continue the negotiation. And with that, he explained the game plan. I'll tell you what I want, and you'll tell me the same, so we can seal the deal. And we'll make a small wager, fair and impartial. The impartiality of contract made by a being of darkness. I'll tell you what I want, and you'll do the same. If you win, you get what you ask for. Please begin. The dark being stated in a deep voice. I will be the mediator of this contract, and I have sworn as an impartial witness to this wager. Thus, the being spoke before Liba and Adele, who will be the judge of the dispute. Suddenly, letters appeared on that dimensional wall. Adele picked something up and threw it to Liba. Is that a seed? Liba asked. 24 hours, Adele stated bluntly. You have 24 hours to make this seed sprout. If you do, you win and I kill your master. Making a seed sprout in a day. What was this a gardening miracle. The masked, blue-eyed, dark being, as witness to this agreement, began writing the contract on the wall. "Little lady, what's your name?" he asked, and she replied, "Look, my name is Liba." He commented, "Liba, what a cute name." At that moment, Liba, curious, asked the dark being, "What are you doing right now?" He explained didactically, This thing I'm writing on the wall that I created is called a contract. Two people make their promise, and I write the proof here. As long as this contract exists, it's impossible to break the promise made. This is because it was made by the authorities of the gods." Liba was surprised. "Authority? What do you mean?" "To put it simply, anyone who loses this bet will not be able to back out," said the dark being, with an impartial smile on his face, like a true judge. Could he be a Libra? Well, that leaves me with doubt. "Whatever is written in the contract will be resolved here," he continued. At that moment, Liba noticed the collar around her neck begin to glow. It revealed 3 engraved rules. How horrible! The first said, "Whoever wears this collar will be a servant." The second, "The servant will never attack his master." And the third, "The servant will be unable to use magic while wearing this collar." The dark, blue-eyed being clarified, "Look, this thing around your neck is also a contract, a cheap imitation, by the way, of what I do. This is a very cheap imitation indeed, compared to the god's contract." He asked if she understood the situation. Her suffering was just a copy of a contract. The judge did something unusual. He took an iron bar, stuck in the ground, and placed a cupcake on top of it. He also placed a snail on the ground. The time it would take for the snail to reach the cupcake would be the time limit for the challenge. 24 hours. A more comical timer impossible. If Liba made the seed sprout in 24 hours or less, she would win. The girl was thrilled with this prospect. He warned, "But if the seed doesn't sprout, Adele wins." Simple, right? "You can use anything to complete this challenge," Mr. Dark said. "Just come to me and I'll provide whatever you need." Having said this, he asked, "Do you accept this contract, Adele?" He replied, "Yes." "And you, Liba, do you accept the contract?" She exclaimed, "I accept it too, if that is the only way. Tell me, what do you want from the other person?" Liba thought for a moment. "What I wish for, I definitely want you to kill my..." Until she stopped and thought, "Wait a minute, am I really going to ask for that? Anything I want, right? And my opponent will have to fulfill it in the end." Well, revenge seemed too small for a divine contract. The girl began to think, remembering those bags of money Adele carried. Selfishness overcame the desire for justice. With a completely selfish thought, she declared with forced bravery to Adele, "If I win, everything you have will be mine." And she continued, "You will give me money if I ask. If I ask for land, you will give it to me too. You will be my slave." Yes, Liba was becoming, in seconds, as cruel as her master. Adele was incredulous. He exclaimed in shock, "Are you crazy? This is completely different from what you asked me before." Liba retorted, convinced, "You're the one who got me into this." That brat, Adele thought, the dog who bit his master's hand. "Well, Adele, what do you want from her?" asked the judge. Adele then called his nervous friend closer, whispering in his ear what he wanted, keeping a mystery. He began to say things that were incomprehensible, and the dark being said, "Yes, yes, I'll write them in small, tiny letters." At that moment, the screen began to glow. A very large contract. Then it seemed as if a great power would review it. As the judge had cast it to the universe, the gods would decide what would come into effect. Let the games begin. The remaining time was 24 hours. The snail began to climb the iron bar toward the cake. Liba then began to look at the seed in her hands. It was an interesting seed, even simple, brown in color. She stopped and thought, "I have 24 hours to make this seed grow. Well, anyway, I'll do my best." We see, then, that time was passing, and that stylish dark being with his black painted nails was simply tearing up his notebook. Yes, he was tearing up the paper, making paper airplanes and throwing them, playing with time. Liba looked at him in disbelief. How could he be so calm, she wondered. She called out to him, and the dark being replied, "Liba, do you need something from me?" Liba stopped and thought, if he can give me anything, perhaps he could give me more time? Having said that, the dark being stopped and looked at her, incredulous at her request. The time had barely started ticking and already marked 23 hours and 47 seconds. Liba has changed targets. Now, she wants Adele's fortune and slavery. And her first act of desperation is to ask for more time. What will the dark being's answer be? And what is Adele's secret desire? The dark being simply started laughing. He laughed really, really hard, finding Liba's request a height of absurdity. "You want time? What a funny request," he mocked. "Unfortunately, I can't grant your request, little girl. You see, time is relative," he explained. Liba, clever, analyzed the situation and understood. "I really don't understand this, so I guess I can't receive it." "I see, so it still has limitations. Not even a contract god can change that." She changed tack, asking for the essentials. "So, for now, please give me some soil and a pot to put the soil in. I also want some sunlight." The basics for any miracle. The dark being snapped his fingers. "Here it is," instantly materializing everything she needed. He warned with a fatherly and entirely suspicious smile, "If you need anything else, don't be afraid to come ask me." Liba looked closely at the seed and recognized a flower. The nun rose. She remembered that a normal flower took 2 to 3 days to sprout. How could she do it in 1 day? She stopped and came to the conclusion. It would be impossible to make that seed grow, and to make matters worse, that flower was the reason I got beaten. But optimistic to the core, she declared, "I'm going to win this bet no matter what." She made the preparations. Seed in the pot, soil and sun above. As she angrily clutched the gold coin in her hand, she resorted to a desperate and surreal strategy. She understood that water wouldn't be enough. She would use her own blood to make the seed sprout, as if she were giving birth to a monster seed. She believed the blood would evolve its growth. Meanwhile, the Dark One, who was reading a book, approached Adele, who was incredibly calm. The judge asked, "You must be pretty calm, huh? I suppose you're guaranteed to win." Adele replied, completely disinterested, "I really don't care. I might lose." The judge, astonished, persisted, "Really? Even if you're a slave for eternity?" Adele nodded lazily. Slave for eternity sounds fun. The dark being simply turned pale at this answer. How could he be so reckless? At that moment, something surreal happened. The snail finally reached the cupcake. Time was up. Judge Dark, emotionless, announced, "Time's up. Now let's find out the winner." The winner is Adele. Liba was frustrated. Looking closely, her seed hadn't even blossomed. Revenge and fortune had escaped her because of a stubborn flower. Adele's plan succeeded, and now Liba is in debt under a contract that obligates her to fulfill his secret wish. What price will Adele exact? Even using the ability of your blood. What desperate intelligence. You were clever to try to monstrify the Rosa Frere seed, Judge Dark acknowledged. But that's not the right answer. This white limbo we're in isn't a normal place. Nothing in here grows or turns red. The judge explained with cruel coldness. For you to win, it would be quite simple. You just had to find the exit. You would leave this empty space to sprout the monsterized seed and then return to the void. That was the right answer. Nothing grows here? You're kidding, right? Liba asked, incredulous and outraged. She had been fooled by her own scenario. This is a space outside of reality. The laws of physics don't apply here. You can practically consider this a paradise, a whole new world, the impartial judge declared. It can't be. And what about the fact that he threw away the exit earlier? Was that a hint? No, the judge corrected. Adele's act of throwing away the door was a distraction. Well, I guess it was just a matter of time. Let's move on to the conclusion, said the judge. At that moment, Liba was in disbelief, trying to accept defeat. And yes, my friends, she really did lose. But is this serious? She thought, her head down. The judge stated definitively, since Adele is the winner, the contract will fulfill his requests. Her fate was sealed. So, why isn't anything happening? Adele asked impatiently, pointing at the screen. Is this thing broken? The judge smiled mysteriously. Ah, the contract has definitely been completed. You just haven't realized it yet. Your request has been successfully fulfilled. Adele, what was this? A trick? The judge reminded Adele. You whispered in my ear, remember? Adele's mystery was solved. What you said is so the child can get what she truly desires, Judge Duru revealed. Crazy. So, you'll only know her wish when she wakes up. And that's what happened. At that moment, Liba fell to ground. Yes, she fell to ground again and passed out in Adele's arms. Well, she's been awake for over 24 hours, the judge said. Quite a long time for a child, don't you think? Adele, with a serious face, commented worriedly. Well, I think the child will need some care. Her hands are terribly hurt, because she hurt herself. And here came the saddest revelation. Even though she knew the plant wouldn't grow there, she thought she needed more blood, and she kept pounding her hands on the ground to get more, tens of thousands of times, until the seed grew. At one point, Liba's skin was torn, her veins bursting, and her bones broken, and she just kept pounding. It's a little sad, isn't it? She could have just asked for a jar of blood, but she didn't. So I wonder, why did she do this? Adele analyzed. After all, this girl needs care. At that moment, he picked her up, walking under the judge's watchful eye. He placed her on the bed. But as Adele was about to remove his hand, Liba grabbed his coat. In a numb state, she murmured Maria's name. Don't go, Maria. Don't go. It was her former companion. Executed by the noble psychopath, Adele sat on the floor and began reading his book again, like a diligent student. Daru questioned him. Why did you do that? I think there were easier ways to solve this, but you didn't choose them. The judge was trying to understand Adele's attitude. He asked again, pressing the weak point. And that ring? Where did you get it? He was trying to understand Adele's thinking. Why had he risked becoming a slave to fulfill a little girl's wish? Was it remorse, pity, or some sense of justice? Adele? Tell me. Adele remained frozen in time, denying his own kindness. He asked, evading the answer. What did I do to help her? What are you trying to talk about? I'm just curious. This girl reminds me of my past. Daru, understanding the truth, finally revealed to Adele, Ah, so you left your space-time to hide the flowers. I was wondering why I couldn't see them, along with that black gate behind you. Adele, as if nothing had happened, said bored. Why didn't you bring me another book? This one is boring. At that moment, Daru, which was the judge's name, revealed his intentions with a laugh. Hey, but I brought you a human. A human is even better for relieving boredom, right? Let's have a drink first. Meanwhile, Liba was fast asleep, and so the story continues. We see that, apparently, Liba has woken up. She looked around and saw unknown people painting the ground and making various arts. Children playing in a peaceful and colorful setting, completely different from the white limbo. The story continued, and Liba saw an interesting scenario, but at that moment, something terrible happened. The tyrannical psychopath nobleman appeared before her, grabbed her hair, and dragged her away like a slave again. But the terror was a dream. She woke, gasping, relieved not to have to go through that again. Looking at the white clouds, she murmured, A new world? I hope. What happened? I thought I lost it. Why can't I feel anything? Her stomach growled loudly. Well, now that I think about it, I haven't eaten in 2 days. Poor girl. Just then, she smelled a delicious aroma. A pot was on the stove, and we were shown several delicious dishes made by our friend Adele. Judge Daru, wearing his mask, offered a dish, which startled Liba, who went into a state of attack. Daru said, reassuring her, Don't be so hostile. Relax. I'm not human. The bet is over, okay? Forget it and just eat. Since you lost, you told us all about your ring. It only looks like the one Adele was looking for. It's all settled now, girls, so eat. So that's it? Liba asked. Yes, that's right, Daru said. Your master won't look for you anymore. We'll talk more later, then eat. The nobleman outside woke up on the cliff, still groggy. Daru, while gathering many dishes, asked Adele for help. Another unusual scene. Today is Darakal's birthday. He'll eat until he's full. Darakal, in this case, was the pet snail. Daru gave a cake to Liba, who was starving. Darakal tried to offer it, but ate it all before she could take it, which made Dar laugh out loud. Just as Liba was about to eat again, Adele snatched the plate from her hand. "Give me that, girl." This triggered Liba's flashbacks, and she began to cry as she relived memories of being mistreated. But Adele was actually concerned. He walked over and handed her a loaf of bread. He explained awkwardly, "Your hands are delicate. What are you doing holding a heavy plate like that? What will you do if you drop it and break it?" He sounded like an angry father. These kids these days. Daru, who had been listening to everything, thought aloud, "This guy definitely doesn't know how to express himself." He could have said that his hand was still hurt and not to strain himself, but he's not good with words. He wasn't like that. Daru concluded gently. "Well, rest while we set the table. You can eat this pizza or this bread." Adele left with Daru, jumping up and down excitedly. Liba was confused, but happily said, "But the pizza is warm." She ate it all, while the snail, her newest friend, was above her head. The cake was lit. Darakal ate so much that he let out a terrifying belch that sent silverware flying. Everyone was at the table. Daru, the birthday boy Darakal, Liba, and Adele. They all exclaimed together, "Happy birthday, Darakal." Adele and Daru started a friendly fight, but stopped when they saw Liba so happy. Adele was happy to see the child happy, but her change in personality piqued his curiosity. He reminded her, "You'll know what the girl really wants when she wakes up." What was the secret which Adele had granted? Liba, in the middle of the party, began to cry, remembering the dream of her master dragging her away. They comforted her, and she went back to eating peacefully, enjoying the abundance of food. Adele ate his cheese soup, and everyone enjoyed the party. That moment was sensational. With that said, a few moments of calm and comfort passed. An interesting question arose in Liba's mind, seeing that scene of clouds and peace. In a world without people or society, a world without pain, she wanted to ask Adele if she could live there forever. Then she asked hopefully, "Can I live here, Adele?" But Adele didn't answer, remaining completely silent, looking only at his rice ball. Liba stopped to think and made a mental list of all his kindnesses. She concluded with a full heart, "Adele is a good person. He prepared a delicious meal for us. You know, he's a father I never had. He helped her wash her hair, dressed her, treated her well. He gave her new, comfortable, and fragrant clothes." And curiously, she stopped and thought, "But after all, why does Adele have girls' clothes here? Is he a pervert?" One innocent and funny thought. "Well, anyway," she continued thinking, "he even gave me a place to sleep. You can sleep here if you're tired," he told me, showing me the bed. And she asked naively, "Adele, and where do you sleep?" Adele quickly moved away from her, saying introvertedly, "Don't try to find out too much about me, okay?" Liba noticed that he looked a little sad at that moment. Liba remembered how she and Dar would tease him when they were bored. He got irritated very easily. He told me about his hobby and that he likes to read books. But is that all he does? What a strange guy. Liba thought. Meanwhile, Adele read his book, thinking, "Now I have a brat living with me." He sighed. "Normally I would have kicked her out already, but she has nowhere to go and seems like a good girl." He decided, "I've decided to observe a little more before making a decision." Adele would then stop and think, "Well, I'm feeding her while she's here, but why does she cry so much while she eats?" He quickly concluded, in his own twisted way, "That's why I don't like children. They're too emotional for that kind of thing." And yet, he showed his care by spoon-feeding her, as if he were a father. What a strange father figure. "I'm not sure she wanted to thank me," he thought, "because she always teases me in a strange way." The girl came with a mushroom and simply offered it, with a sarcastic smile on her face. She said it was a gift. The problem? The mushroom was 100% poisonous. Yes, The girl gave a deadly mushroom as a gift, and she knew it was poisonous and went to get more. But Adele, he ate it. Yes, he ate the poisonous mushroom. And of course, he didn't die. A little later, Adele grabbed the basin of clothes to wash. But Liba came running, grabbed the basin, and carried it away. What a persistent girl. And when he was washing the dishes, Liba came over to support him, helping him wash. Adele couldn't understand her strange way of always showing her predisposition for things. Meanwhile, Dar was eating the dishes. Instead of helping clean, he was chewing on them. Liba yelled at Dar, telling him to stop eating. The judge then lied. The dishes here really are like cookies. She almost believed him, but then retorted, "No, wait, they're not. You liar. I hadn't thought of that before." Liba, in a moment of euphoria, blurted out, "It sounds like you've been through a lot. It must have been horrible. Everything turned upside down when my parents left me in an orphanage. I became a slave. I suffered all these years. I hate my parents." Adele then changed his tone and asked, "Liba, did they give you this ring you're wearing? This ring is for when you grow up and become an adult. Maybe your parents will recognize you when they see this ring." "Impossible," Liba exclaimed. "My parents don't need me, so they threw me away." Adele, with rare tenderness, asked, "Liba, your name, do you know what it means?" "Love." "What kind of parents would give their daughter a name like that and throw her away like that?" "I believe there must be a reason for it, or some circumstances that they had no choice in." The girl lowered her head and began to cry. Adele comforted her. "Liba, think, for them to leave you in an orphanage like that, something must have happened. Don't be mad at them. They probably left you because they thought someone would take good care of you." Adele then placed his hand on Liba's head and comforted her. Liba, crying with joy, thanked him. "Thank you, God. Thank you so much." She concluded, smiling. "He's not so weird after all." The haircut battle. Shortly afterward, Liba and Dar wanted to cut Adele's hair. "No way am I cutting my own." Adele protested. Dar added fuel to the fire. "She's offering for free, just take it." Liba insisted. "I'm very good at this. Trust me, your hair is dirty and rotten, and your beard is patchy. You look like a beggar." "Watch your mouth, brat," Adele exclaimed. He tried to defend himself. "It's not because I'm not taking care of myself." "Oh, just forget it. Just go play with us." They changed their strategy. The protagonist and Dar advanced on Adele. He begged him to stay away and not touch his hair. The childish game began, a fierce arm wrestling match to see who would give in first. As incredible as it may seem, Adele realized that Liba's strength was monstrous for a child. At that moment, Adele realized something surreal and stopped to think. "Wait, wasn't your arm hurt? How is it better already?" Adele's wish for Liba to get what he truly desired, healing and safety, had already been granted. He then threw Liba backward. Even after much struggle, Dar managed to restrain Adele with chains, and they shaved him. "My God, he's going to be so handsome." "Trust me," Liba said. After a few seconds, the girl, with a satisfied smile on her face, shaved and trimmed Adele's hair and went to sleep. At that moment, Adele picked up a photo of someone very special to him. Dar came up behind him, and the two talked about Liba, if she was okay, if she'd slept. "She's sleeping, yes?" At that moment, the gates opened. Adele walked through the gates and said he would be back soon, as the first main arc began. With that, the scene cut, and the door opened to a new morning. Our Liba appeared yawning, calling out to someone who was cooking for her. "Old lady, I'm hungry. Can you cook something for me?" But she soon opened her eyes in surprise. "Adele, where are you?" He wasn't in the room. He had simply disappeared. She went straight to Dar to ask where Adele was. The judge was surprised. "Adele's gone? Wow, that's strange. He should have been back by now." And suddenly, the mood grew heavy. Dar broke out in a cold sweat and trembled. "It can't be," he muttered, terrified. "It can't be what? Dar?" Liba asked worriedly. "Adele is in danger," the referee exclaimed as cold sweat poured down his face. They ran to the giant, immense door, casting a gigantic shadow over them. A portal? Is Adele in here by any chance? What is this place? Liba asked. It's Adele's room, Dardur replied. It's a reality within a reality. Dardur revealed regretfully. Liba, I never thought you would come here. You spent a lot of time with Adele. But didn't you notice something strange while you were here with him? While you were eating, sharing stories, day after day? Did you ever see Adele sleep? This hit Liba like a supernatural shock. She was astonished that she hadn't noticed. She remembered asking where he slept and how he'd slipped away, saying, Don't try to find out too much about me. He never gave the question any importance, because the answer was terrifying. Adele never slept in this room. Not once, Dardur said. Before he went to sleep, he came here and entered this room. In other words, he entered the Great Gate. You're kidding me, right? What kind of person can live without sleep? Liba said, looking very worried. You really don't know anything about Adele, do you? The judge said. In a completely white limbo, with nothing in sight, he continued. Adele spent tens of hundreds of thousands of years alone, lonely, even with his mind in ruins. He still stands firm, acting calm, especially in front of you. But Adele is slowly destroying himself because of this. The judge painted a picture of the truth. Adele was being broken, suffering physically, mentally, and spiritually. The longer he stays in this room, the harder it will be for him to get out, warned Dardaru. But what's so special about this room? Is there a reason he can't leave? Liba asked, and with that, the gate slowly began to open. From within it came a frightening aura. The door swung open, and inside it was pitch black. But what is that? What's in there? What darkness is that? Liba asked. Why Adele didn't come back, and the reason, you'll have to find out for yourself, Dardaru said urgently. The judge then simply pushed Liba into the gate. She fell into a deep limbo of darkness, while Dardaru watched, desolate. Take care, Liba. Adele is in this room. But don't fool yourself into thinking it's the same Adele you know, he said, his voice trembling. With that, the gate closed once more, and Dardaru, in an act of acceptance and despair, leaned his head against the black gate as it closed. Dardaru, in despair, leaned his head against the gate. But he wasn't without a plan. Don't worry, Liba, he said, his voice muffled. I've thought of a way for you to return safely. And then something surprising was revealed to us. He had tied a special cord around the girl's waist, without her noticing. Just follow the thread, and you'll get back safely. He shouted, so she could hear from the bottom of the abyss. Did you hear now? Go there and save Adele. With that, the scene cut. As she fell into a deep limbo, reality shattered again. A moment later, Liba was in a corner, chained and locked in a gleaming golden cell. She stood before an audience of masked people. Liba, startled, realized what was happening. These people were customers, and she was at an auction. The advertisers shouted with great enthusiasm, Welcome to the slave market. Let the show begin. If you're interested in the product, please raise your hand. Liba's mind went into a panic, unable to understand how she had ended up here, chained. Memories came back like a shock. The slave trader captured me when I was running away from the orphanage. I was drugged and dragged here to be sold. I'm only here to serve any rich family who will buy me. The bidding began. 900, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300 gold coins. Then a final bid came from a hooded figure, Mr. Number 53. The announcer could hardly believe the amount. Is there no one who can bid above 1,500? I'll give you one. I'll give you two. But Number 53 raised a sign and took a quantum leap. 10,000 gold coins. The announcer was stunned. 10,000 gold coins. We have a new bid. What an astronomical amount. Sold. Sold for 10,000 gold coins. The gavel fell. Mr. Number 53, please come here to claim your purchase. At that moment, the mysterious man approached Liba. He sat down across from her and said in a mock rescue tone, Hey girl, I'm here to save you from this place. And then he took off his hood. Oh my God! Even the narrator was startled. It was none other than that noble, sadistic, psychopathic Nazi, the master who mistreated her. He was drooling, water dripping from his mouth, looking at her as if she had a piece of meat in front of her, and he hissed with sick satisfaction, "My little bunny." With that, the scene cut abruptly, leaving Lieba's terror at the auction behind. In lush nature, among trees and mountains, there he was, our friend Adele. He was lying down, relaxing with a book on his face. Another moment of laziness for our hero, before adventure found him, until suddenly someone shouted his name. A very beautiful woman with blonde hair appeared before him and introduced herself with soldierly formality. "Sir, new recruit reporting, sir." Adele didn't understand who the woman was, but she was direct. "I hope to serve you well. I'm here on a mission to wake you up. Please come with me to the camp." Adele, suspicious, looked up from his book, but ignored it. He simply placed the book back on his face and went back to sleep, leaning against a tree trunk, a true master of selective ignorance. She then began tickling him. "Adele, don't ignore me. People are looking for you downstairs." He yelled at her. "What are you doing?" She stated determinedly, "I need to succeed in my first mission. Please come with me." Adele tried to push her away. "Do you even know who I am? Why are you pretending to be my friend when I don't even know you? If you're going to lie, at least do it right." And he put the book in his face again. "Are they looking for me? These people?" The girl then took the book away from his face and declared, blushing, "Do I know Adele? Of course I do. He's a stupidly handsome warrior." She took the book and began to look at him, infatuated. Who doesn't know him? His first impression of her, he thought, was of a stupidly bright light. The two stood in a romantic scene, side by side. In this timeline, they didn't know each other yet. Ahead, we were shown the Demon King subjugation camp. Soldiers in sentry boxes, armed with armor, began to stare in amazement at an unusual sight. Their camp warrior was holding the legendary warrior Adele by the arms, as if they were a couple. The campers started gossiping. "Who's the girl with the legendary warrior Adele? This is the first time I've seen her." A man began to shout in a celebratory voice, catching Adele's attention. It would be our savior. Our badass warrior has finally appeared after his nap. The big twist: the woman is known to the campers. The one who isn't known in person is Adele, the legendary warrior, who seems to sleep for decades at a time, centuries at a time. "We're risking our lives," a soldier shouted, "but it's good to know you can sleep with any woman you want, my noble warrior. Fight for humanity." The soldier's friend tried to hold him back in an act of desperation. "Stop it and shut up." The soldiers gossiped. "Who's that next to him? I think she's a new recruit." "Is she sleeping with him for privileges?" "No, I think she's forcing it." Adele, who never missed a joke, asked the blonde, "Seriously? You're going to let this guy say that about you?" The blushing girl said, ignoring the crowd, "I'm fine. Just ignore these jerks. They don't know the real Adele." "Do you really know me?" Adele asked. "Yes," she replied, "but you don't remember. The mystery has been solved. It seems Adele has been asleep for centuries, suffering a memory loss each time he awakens. He becomes a legendary warrior again, but doesn't know it's himself. And the blonde knows him from times past." She continued stubbornly, "What's wrong with me sticking to you? I'll stick to you as much as I want." Adele yelled, "Give me more space," but she never gave in, until someone shouted, "Warrior, are you really here?" It was a boy, then the archivist, who was speaking to Adele. "I was wondering where you were." The blonde girl whispered in Adele's ear, "I'm going to step out for a moment and see you later. I'll leave you two alone." "Afterwards? But where afterward? Is this woman a pervert?" Adele wondered. The boy then arrived, humming, "This lady you were talking to, I assume you've met before." "You know her?" Adele asked. "She's the latest recruit. She came in for our last recruitment ad." The boy, a true nerd, looked at his book and continued talking about Adele. "Adele's interested in her, I can tell." Den teased. Adele defended himself. "No, I'm just curious." They began walking through the camp, and Adele noticed the depressed atmosphere. The soldiers' faces were drooping. "Well, I guess that's to be expected," Den explained. "After all, we were practically pawns being thrown into the middle of the board. Most of the camp is waiting for your opportunity to battle the Demon King." Den continued, revealing the harsh truth. "They're fighting on the front lines to prepare for their duel and buying as much time as possible. That's what the books say. But they'll all die trying to buy more time. We're calling ourselves the Demon King Subjugation Corps, but it's not like we have a hope in this last-ditch effort." At that moment, something surreal happened. A man from the camp was facing an enemy Elder Ogre. It was a member of the Demon King's army. Elder Shrek has broken through the defense. Why is there an ogre in a place like this? Quick, call for reinforcements. The Elder Ogre charged at full speed toward a soldier who was trembling on the ground. The soldier screamed for someone to save him. Adele grabbed the soldier by the shirt, threw him back, and said, his voice serious the first time, "Get out of the way." The Elder Ogre attacked Adele with brutal force. Adele retaliated with a straight punch. The ogre's punch broke on Adele's wrist, but Adele's punch broke the ogre's hand and fingers completely. With a single brutal blow, Adele defeated the Elder Ogre, proving that his strength was something monstrous.